Hey, everybody. Okay, we are going to talk through all of the acting events except for program oral interp. So, more NSDA events. Remember that there is a separation between Arkansas events, which are called the ACTA events, and NSDA. If you are outside of the state, NSDA events will be the route that you go. If you are in state, then you have more options that the Arkansas folks do cover, and we'll talk about those today as well. Please make sure to remember that when you are watching these videos, I want you to be mature when you are watching them, but be meticulous when you are watching them as well. There are reasons why these videos are on the national stage. Okay. They have made it to the top 6 out of 300 entries, 250 entries. Pay close attention to the performance format. Remember that there's an opener, which is called a teaser, which is usually about a minute to a minute and a half long. And then we slide into intro, and then we pop back into performance on title and author. Okay. So it's Twilight by Stephanie Crawford. And then you're sliding back in. Okay. Or I don't even know what her last name is. Watch for physicalities, watch for presentation styles. You want to look at how creative these cuttings are. Pay very, very close attention to these. These are not now watching for entertainment. These are watching for education, okay? Your goal is to see the minute details, okay? So, with further ado, we talk about duo. Now, remember that duo is kind of hit or miss this year, but we are going to talk about duo, and we'll just kind of slide through them, okay? But it is important that you know what kind of things to look for duo, okay? It is a 2-competitor. It is off-stage focus, meaning you cannot look at each other. You cannot touch. So when you reach out for like touching hands, you're going to do this. Okay. You're not going to allow any of this cannot happen. Okay. Performances must include an intro, and it can be written by students. You cannot use props. You cannot use costumes. You cannot even dress like your characters are supposed to be. Okay. So you've got to make sure that if you're going to wear the same color combo, remember, which is it's kind of embraced, you need to make sure that that it's not part of the script. Okay, that's super, super important. Duo, it must be from memory. The focus is off stage. It cannot look at each other. The only time that you can look at each other is during the intro. Okay. An intro has to be presented, and it must end with a title and an author. The actual runtime is 10 minutes with a 30-second grace period. And I kind of say hit 9:45 to 10 and then be done. Okay. You cannot go over and expect to be ranked first. I look for these things. Do you guys work well together? Is the blocking creative and unique and well thought out? Are characters believable? Does it look like you are up there just creating these characters yourselves, or if you're forcing a voice, or if you're forcing a accent on it? The story should take us on a journey. This is the most important thing. If it does not take me on a journey, you're not taking it to tournament, okay? You've got to make sure that it has a strong beginning, middle, and an end, okay? Do not look at each other, okay? It's off stage focus, so you're going to look this way rather than at each other, okay? You're going to look off stage at a focal point rather than looking directly at them. It has to be memorized. So these are some really great examples. Strong blocking, very strong blocking, and pay close attention to all of the aspects that they do not they don't look at each other, they don't touch any of that kind of stuff. Okay, and then this is off of the NSDA website about what to expect when you compete in duo. All right, okay. The next one is DI, dramatic interp. okay? Usually it is monologue, all right? No props, no costumes. It's a 10-minute monologue. The performances have to be memorized. They have to have that opening sequence, the teaser, slide into intro, and then pop back into character on title and author and arrive, okay? You're going to focus on character development, which is super, super important, all right? You can use numerous characters. However, most DIs tend to be monologue driven, okay? They tend to be monologue driven. You can pull them from books. You can pull them from movies. You can pull them from scripts. The scene has got to be presented by memory. Time limit is 10 minutes with a 30-second grace period. Same rules apply. You'll use focal points to create other people in the room that you are talking to, okay? The things that I look for: 10-minute monologue preferred, clear, concise character development for the character. And that includes it physically, vocally, and emotionally, and facially. Okay. I want you to build a strong story, beginning, middle, and an end, with an emotional spin at the end is preferred. Okay. So it can be funny. DI can be funny. There's nothing better than trying to find a piece where you are laughing through tears. Okay. Topical stories, meaning stuff that's going on now, would be really good. You've got to think through your blocking. And we'll talk about blocking ideas in the next couple of weeks. Okay. All right. So these are strong examples of DI that you will need to watch. All right. Your goal is to watch all of them. Okay. You have to watch all of them. Don't just specialize in just your one event, because you will be tested on all of them at the end of the semester. Okay. And what that implies. This is from the NSDA as to what to expect when you're competing in DI. And then we move on to HI. Okay. HI is exactly the same as DI, except you have more characters. You will create all of the different characters within a scene. Each character has to be different. Okay. Physically, vocally, facially, all emotionally, all of that. And the thing that I tell my kids is this: if I can put my head down and listen to you speaking, and I can differentiate between each one of those characters in an HI, you're doing a good job. Okay. No props, no costumes. You're going to portray a number of different characters. Performances, you've got to do the same thing with an intro. You'll do a teaser, which is a minute to a minute and a half. You will slide out of the physicality of the character. Give me the intro, title, author, pop back. Okay. Monologues are acceptable. They're not as competitive. So you want to find something that has at least 3 to 4 characters, if not more. But the more characters that you have, the harder it is to differentiate between all of them. Okay. And that is the key to a strong HI, is if you have differentiated characters and strong sound effects. Okay. You will see the use of sound effects a lot. In Duo, you saw it in Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. That was so creative. Those are the kind of things that I want to see in an HI. Okay. 10 minutes with a 30-second grace period. Keep it at 9:45 to 10. Okay. These are the things that I look at. It's got to have more than 3 characters, but not too many that you can't handle the amount. Clear, concise character development for each character. Okay. Don't just put on a character because it's something that you do well. You're going to need to do some character development for each one of them. And they need to physically, vocally, facially, emotionally all be different. The story has to be strong, beginning, middle, and an end, and an emotional spin at the end is preferred. Okay. Pops between each character are a must, and they need to be crisp and clean and concise, and the piece has to be memorized. Okay. Very well thought out blocking is a must. Okay. So this is in nationals 2017. This young man just graduated from high school in May, and this is his ninth grade year when he won nationals. And this is the one that has a little bit of an inappropriateness, but it is so good. And to watch him physically tell this story is really good. Okay. 2016. This was 2019. She does an amazing job with sound effects. Okay. And then this young man, his facials are so good. Okay. And this is what to expect with regards to competing in HI. A pop is quick transitions between characters. You got to think physically, facially, and vocal differences, and it can and should use sound effects to transition. It's not used very much in DI, but HI pops all the time, okay? So you're going to be like this for a character, and then you're going to be like this for a character, and then you're going to be like this for a character, and then you're going to be like this for a character, okay? And facially, so like, huh? Like that, so that they're different. And vocal choices need to be different as well. Okay, Arkansas events, prose, poetry, storytelling, duo improv. We are only going to talk about prose, poetry, and storytelling, okay? Duo improv is not being offered this year, so we won't be talking about that anytime soon until next year. Prose, it's got to be in a black book. It's cut from a single prose piece. You cannot piece together anything from prose and from two different books. It has to be from one. An intro has got to be included that includes a title and author, and it needs to be creative, okay? This says here that readers should have no movement below the waist. It is now allowed, okay? And the time limit is 5 minutes with a 30-second grace period, okay? 5 minutes with a 30-second grace period. The things that I look for is well-developed characters. Your cutting has to be strong and cohesive, strong beginning, middle, and an end. Make sure that it is memorable. Do not just pick a prose piece because it's your favorite book, and then you're just going to pick the first chapter that doesn't end. No, you cannot. You cannot do that. It has to be something that is going to be memorable, okay? Do not tell the entire story. You don't have to. You can leave your audience hanging suspensefully, and then you need to use black pages as a must in your B&B. So you will be cutting out the white pieces of paper and you'll be gluing them onto black pages that will go in your B&B. I have not ordered black paper yet, but I will have it ordered, and we'll have it in the office for you guys to be able to do that. Okay, so here is prose on the national stage. They do offer it, but remember that it's called oral interp. Okay, poetry. This is really hard to read. So I will tell you about poetry. Poetry is a black book event, a B&B event. It is 5 minutes with a 30-second grace period. There are two different ways to be able to do it. You can perform the piece as a program, which is like POI when we get ready to talk about that, but you can cut poetry to fit like a program. So you'll have a chunk of poem number 1, you'll then slide into poem number 2, a chunk of poem number 1 again, you'll slide into poem number 3, a chunk of poem number 1 to end it up. Okay, so you're piecing it together like that. Or you can go ahead and do poem number 1, poem number 2, poem number 3. Okay. If you choose the program format, you do need to say that in your intro, okay? And what you will do is you will say your intro from the poems, blah, 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 blah. We see this evolution of this in title, a program. Because, and then you'll add your because statement, and then you'll add whatever that is. This is going to be very confusing. So what I will probably do is I will probably spend a little bit more time with you guys on poetry if you are going to do a program style. I'll pull everybody together from class to be able to kind of talk about that. Because when you do a program, which is why I've put POI towards next year, you have to have a because statement built into your intro. Okay. And it's actually really, really powerful, but it's a little confusing to get started. And then once you've got it, you got it. Okay. Oops. So do not do slam poetry. Okay. It's slam-esque. The thing that you want to do is you want to watch slam poets and listen to their rhythm, listen to the way that they deliver rhythm, because poems can have a rhythm to them, and you need to be able to use that. You're going to make sure that it is memorable and powerful. All poems need to be connected to each other somehow. Remember, poem 1 goes into poem 2, goes into poem 3, or it's 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, and you're blending it together, and that's a program style. You will restate just the titles as you perform the piece if you are doing 1, 2, 3. But if it's a program, you don't have to. Okay? But your intro has to include all the titles and all the authors. And then there again, you will use black pages are a must in your B&B. Okay? These are a couple of poetry examples. And then I'm going to skip over improv. Storytelling. Storytelling is a selection that you perform with high energy that matches the idea that the audience is 3 or 4 year olds. Okay. So you have to maintain high energy to make sure that the energy you provide is going to keep 3 and 4 year old mentalities focused on what you're doing. The minute that your energy drops, you know that those 3 and 4 year olds are going to wander off somewhere and they're not going to pay attention. So you want to make sure that you are high energy the entire time. You will use one chair as creatively as you possibly can. Don't pull a chair in and not use it, okay? And you should be all over the place with this thing and creating all these characters and using this chair as props and doing all of this kind of thing with voices and physicalities and all of that, okay? It's super, super important. So what you're doing is you're then going to create a 5-minute, 30-second grace period performance of a child storybook, okay? With an intro. It's got to be creative. It's got to be fun. Many well-developed characters. Pops between the characters are a must. The piece has to be memorized, and your blocking has got to be creative. The selection of the piece is the hardest. I'm telling you. So it's you got to be picky, okay? Because there's lots of children's stories out there. So this is the 2018 Storytelling National Champion. However, he does not use that chair a lot, okay? But he's very creative in how he does it, okay? There is that suggested material locator that has been updated on your Google Classroom. And remember that this is a jumping off spot with some ideas there. Use wisely. But also remember that once it's up on the wall, you then need to find a different piece. You will not be able to compete with the same piece, okay? So once it's up there, it's done, okay? So here's what I need you to do. For the rest of the class period, you will go back into the actual PowerPoint and you will watch all videos, okay? So you will watch this first, and then you will watch all the videos, okay? Paying attention and being meticulous. This is not about entertainment. This is about education. And I want you to watch, if you're an HI and that's what you specialize in, you will watch the HIs for pops, vocal choices, facials, all of that, okay? If it is DI, you will watch very closely to how it's put together. Blocking, movement, duo will be the same thing, okay? So watch these things for all of that material. You are now watching to figure out reasons why these folks made it to the national stage, okay? The next assignment will be then provided for you by video, probably by Wednesday, okay, as to what that next step is. You need to make sure that you have all these videos watched before Wednesday and that you have an idea of what you want to do, which event you want to do. And if you've got a script, bring it with you on Wednesday, okay? Good luck. Thank you. Come on.